Hi everyone, it has been a while since I've created a video and I just saw a message of Xcode 26.3 with agentic coding. They have been focusing a lot on the word agentic coding in their videos as well. So I just wanted to give you my early impressions and a bit of the overview on how everything works. So the first thing is that I'm pretty happy. I was not expecting them to partner with Claude and Codex. So the idea is that it uses the Claude SDK to power the Claude agent and I assume it uses the Codex SDK or the backend server that they have, because they do not have a official post right now that I could refer to, but Claude does. So the idea is that it provides a proper integration of working with the CLI. So if you have been used to using the CLI or the extension in VS Code or Cursor, you will understand what I'm talking about. So the first thing is that you go to settings, and in settings you will see two new options. The first is OpenAI, where you have the Codex integration now, and it will say that you have a ChatGPT account that you can separately log into. In Codex, it will download a separate instance that is separate from the Codex instance that you have installed on your root or your machine. And the idea is that you can have your the Codex account for Xcode separate from your main account, so you can play around with the configuration specifically for Xcode and have the other one for just in general. And the same applies for working with Anthropic. So I have both the OpenAI account and the Anthropic Max plan, and it's the same way of doing it with Claude. And when you are set up, you can see that in the agents, you can allow the agent to use integrated internet access tools, which is something very cool, which wasn't there in the previous Swift Assist version. And they're not calling it Swift Assist anymore because you can drive the whole app or feature by itself. So it's not assisted coding anymore. And now the agent can also use the terminal, use commands, the bash commands, and you can also have Xcode tools, which is a suite of Xcode tools that Xcode can use, and also you can use them in separate functionalities, separate tools that have functionalities for MCP like Cursor or CL Codex or Claude. With that, let's jump into how it works. So I will just start with a new chat and ask what tools do you have access to. And another thing is that I'm going to use Claude Agent for this demo, because if you have worked with Claude Agents, it's much faster than using Codex models, and I do not want to bore myself to death while I'm working with the Codex models. So it's much easier to showcase working with the Claude models on how the new agentic flow in Xcode actually works. So it can say that it has Xcode-specific tools, which is like list, directory, read, write, update. It can also do the grep and build the project. So build project is something new. It can build the project, it can run, find errors, then go through the errors and then work on them until the build passes. You can get some slop in between if it tries to take a shortcut, but the idea is that it can do that feedback loop, which was not possible before. Then you have the Xcode list navigator, run all the tests, some test, render preview, build and render SwiftUI previews. This is something I have not played with. I think this is the button for rendering the changes, which I will do in a separate video. There's documentation search, which can search the Apple developer documentation. They have a whole huge framework just for vector search and embeddings. They're using like from the documentation I found under the contents of Xcode, it is a proper vector database that they're using, an open source one, and they have their own one as well, and a fine-tuned version of the mini LM model as well as MLX embeddings as well, which is pretty cool. I was not expecting them to go like all the way to have documentation search, because one of the parameters I saw was WWDC videos as well. So imagine next year all the WWDC videos drop and you can just chat with them. You can watch them if you want, like if it's playing in the background, and while that's happening you can chat with them as well when the new SDKs drop. So it's a different world than how it was before in WWDC 25 or 24, where we were promised Swift Assist, which was supposed to revolutionize Xcode. Keeping my rant away, so you also have the web fetch and the web search, and also task, which can explore, plan, bash. So this is a pretty cool because you can have the same flow that you have working with Claude Agent. You can create tasks that you can work with when you are planning a feature, and then you can enter the plan mode and exit the plan mode. So let's try to have something so it's much easier to showcase that way. So go through my issues in GitHub using the GH tool. Because it has access to the terminal, it can run the GH CLI as well. And I'm assuming that it will try to find the two issues that I have open, and I will try to brainstorm and see if I can enter the plan mode, get the plan, and then get it to start working on that plan. So it is still going through the issues. I was hoping that it was be a bit faster when I'm recording the video. So it is not released as of yet, as in it is not the official version. It is a release candidate, so it will still go through an iteration. Maybe next week or next to next week it will do a new release. And I think there's something that's not working well here, so I would just copy this and start a new chat and then talk again. And I hope this time it works. Third time's the charm. So I will check your GitHub issues using the GS tool. It's trying to find the repo. The GLH CLI is not there. The problem is that it is using the path it's not directly using the path. The path here is defined as Xcode's path itself, not the one that we are using at root. So I will say it is installed via homebrew, so use that path instead. So I had actually not tried it, and I was just hoping that it would work live when I'm recording the video. And let's see, it found the path, homebrew, GH, issues list, my framework, and get the repo and state all the issues. So here are the summary of my issues. It worked. So this is a good idea that you will understand when you're working with it, that the root is not the one that you usually work with when you're dealing with the normal terminal. So I wanted a multi-tool workflow in Tools tab. So let's start working on 81. Enter plan mode. I will be very specific and just see how it invokes the plan mode. I have still not tried it, so I'm trying it with you while we are watching the video. So it invoked the view command, and then it asks me, do you want to allow Claude to enter the plan mode? And I will say allow all enter plan mode. So because it's a tool that is invoking, so it is asking me permission for that. And then in the plan mode, it says that it's exploring the tools tab structure that I have right now, then explores the tool execution pattern, it's trying to find the files. So this is a foundation models example that I have, and this is open source. You can have a look. It is one of the best, I think the most prominent one on the internet related to foundation models framework. So you can see that it was able to find and go through a lot of the files, and this is pretty cool because now it's actually working as an agent and not just going through a few files and then giving you an answer and then you talk to it like having a chatbot or a Swift assist that you can have. But now it's more of an agent where you can go through the files, and it is going through the folders as well. One thing that I do not like is that you have to go through go to the navigator and come back to it. I wish there was a sidebar and a sidebar, or maybe the side was on the right. So this is what I've been used to because I worked on this product called as Alex Sidebar, if you know about it, and we usually had it on the right, so it was much easier to work with. So now it says that I have an excellent comprehensive understanding of the tools architecture. Let me see the existing tools view. So it is doing the plan view much better than I thought. I thought it would just go through a few files and that's it, but they have really done a good implementation here. And this is what I would expect if you are using the Claude Code CLI as well, because it is using the same Claude SDK that powers the Claude Code as well. So now it says that it has a comprehensive understanding of the architecture. Let me launch a plan agent to design the implementation. So while it is doing that, there's also another thing that you have three models when you're working with Claude. One is Opus, one is Opus plus Sonnet and Sonnet. I assume that Opus plus Sonnet is when you have Opus that is doing the planning, which is what I have right now, and then Sonnet does the implementation. But for now I have chosen Opus to do both of these things. It is designing a trip brief overview. So I had asked it to do a multi-tool example, and it has chosen to do this. I actually don't remember what the issue was, as in the description. The idea was to have a multi-tool workflow so that I can easily work with it. And then it's going through more files. So I let the main design plan agent is designing the implementation. So while it does that, do I have anything else to talk about? I really don't. But I'm very happy that it exists, because earlier if you would have to go through, especially when you're working with UI or SwiftUI previews, you would have this back and forth with Xcode, or like if you're using Cursor like me, you would talk in Cursor and go back to Xcode and see the view or have them on the side, which wasn't that intuitive. But when I'm working with design, I think I would use this because it works exactly the way I would use it in Claude. I cannot think of anything that apart from, let's say, Git work trees, but even because you have access to the terminal, you can do a lot more powerful things that you could not before, because when we did not have the access to the terminal. So I can now create Git work trees, but I cannot have it work on separate features at the same time by creating different work trees and have 3-4 instances of Claude code like I usually have, or having multiple windows in Cursor. I don't know how to invoke that in here, so it's like you are only stuck to one. Or maybe if I have another chat, so if I am on this chat, let's say if it is working here and I go back to this one and then start talking, okay, not this one, maybe this one. So this is something I was talking about. I have an App Store. It's a Shameless promo. I have an App Store Connect CLI that helps you manage everything related to App Store Connect. You can directly see the test flight feedback here, your App Store assets, and the in-app purchase, all analytics and finances and everything. So I asked it, like, can you give me all the feedback that I have? And then there are some feedbacks that I can get. So tell me more about the one that I have not solved. So I already have all the feedbacks from June 26. I think there are more, but it is limited. I think so, but I think maybe I have deleted them. So it says that the higher priority ones are these ones, and while it is doing that, I think I can still go back and see it designing. So it actually wanted to edit the file, which is, so it, if you can see, it is using the Claude Agent config/plans, and it uses the same weird names, cool names, dreamy, tumbling, newly, funi, I don't know how to pronounce that. So I will always allow write in this path. And then let's see how the plan looks like. So it says implementation plan, trip brief, multi-tool workflow. These are the files to create. So it will create a new workflow view that will have a compact header, modify, implementation details, session instructions, UI layout. So this is very nice because it is powered by the existing Claude code SDK. It can have the same features of working with if you're using the CLI itself or using the extension in Cursor or VS Code. And then in the end, it also talks about having a verification plan. So it'll build and run the app and then navigate the tools tab. So I think, I'm not sure if it can do that, where it will verify the workflow and see the test inputs where it will write something and tap the generate brief details, and then it will have the empty inputs or not. So I assume that that is something I would have to do myself by running in a simulator. But if it can do that, I would be very, very surprised. So should the workflow be implemented or collapsed? I think let's go with always expanded, because I'm just being a yes man here. And please start implementing in a new branch, and when you are done, create PR. One thing I am missing here is the / commands. So I would say this: implement a new branch, and when you're done, create a new PR. So it would I would want to have this as a command or something that I could just put it as a command. But then to work around this, I can also put that in my Claude.md, like whenever you're working in on a new feature, create a new branch or a new Git work tree, so I can work on many things at the same time. So I can have this main thing, and then like I was trying to get work on the another conversation as well. So do you want to allow Claude Agent to exit the plan mode? So I will always allow the exit plan mode. So while it is working on, I will go and go back. So it says can you check, oops, I really want to type better, because the audience or you are not an LLM who would understand directly from what I'm mistyping. So can you check that the tool button tab target is better or not now? So let's see, while it is working, can we switch? And yeah, so you can have a workflow where you can have multiple agents. So it's not like how you can have one, two, three, but you can go and click to see the other ones. People prefer that ways. You can think of it as more tabs that you have, that you're managing, instead of having it. So this is, instead of having it as a, I won't even say like just side by side views. And this is the to-do list that it created out of the plan, and then it is working. I see that it says there's an error occurred. I don't know what happened. I think it was trying to stash the work and then switch back to the main branch. So you can see that it was in a different branch before. Now it has shifted to the main branch, and then it has stashed my work, and then there are some conflicts that it is trying to do there, and then it is checking out there's readme file, and then git add and git stash drop. So it's just getting rid of the work that I had before, and now we have a new branch, and it is doing exactly how you would want it to work. So this is way better than what we had before in Swift Assist. So this was one of the cool things back from, I think from December 12 was the last time we had a new release of Xcode, and they took almost 2 months to work on this, 50 days. So they really shipped, or really cooked. If Ray is hearing this, he will understand. They really cooked well. It's not as good as how you would have it in Cursor or working with Claude Code CLI, but for a first release, that too is a release candidate. I'm hoping that over the week or the weeks, maybe it releases in the next week, they would do a better job and fix more things as they get the feedback. Let's go back to this one. So it says the modifier makes the entire, so this tap target has been fixed, and modify makes the entire rectangular area of the button tappable. However, tapping may nothing. Would you like me to investigate that further? Yes. So while it is doing that, let's go back to our main view and see how it is working. So it has added the trip brief workflow view, and it has also added the tools view. And let's see what it added. There's a workflow sections, and that's cool. I wasn't expecting that to have a separate workflow sections itself. And then we have the whole view, and it has also started building a project on its own. It did not wait for me. I can see that there's one error. I'm not going to have a look at it and let it work on its own. I will just be a spectator. And while it is doing the building part, we can go back to the request flow, and it is going through the files to see how it is working. So you see we got a big error that the build failed, and let's see what the build failed error is. It says I need to check how the main error is. Can I see the errors myself from here? No, but I can see the errors from here. Okay, perfect. So it was something related to the color that it was using. So the issue is that I use foreground style, but main is the color on color. So I need to be explicit about using that it was using color.main. So the build has succeeded, and I can hear the fan roaring on my M5, and the build has successful. Let me also verify the code looks correct. So it is kind of re-auditing the work that I did. So that is very cool. Now let me commit the changes and create a PR, and let's see how it works in the second one. The navigation setup looks correct, so it says that it was already fixed. There was a beta OS issue with the glass container. I would recommend testing on a current build. Okay, let's go through others and other issues that are solved or not. Finally, it is going to the terminal, and let's see what the commands are. It added the files that it created because it did a new build. The localizable XC string was also updated with the new commands or new keys. Then it did a git commit, then it did a git push, and I have a whole PR created that is ready for me to work on. So how would I test it? Can you because the foundation model can run in the simulator, can you see the view in the simulator? Or so one thing that I do not like about this is that you cannot queue up the messages. That is something I usually very often do, and that is the biggest feedback that I will actually file the first thing after I'm done editing and publishing this video, because when I'm clicking on this responding, I just cannot do that. And you can see that it took a screenshot of the previews and then render the preview and understand how it works. So this is very cool. I wasn't expecting them to do so well on this. So the button will load its state. Let's say if I add the destination as let's Tokyo and then guide URL. I don't have a guide URL, so enter a guide URL like this one. So I will just take this one, and it's not pasting. Oh my god, I will have to type it myself. This is the most I have typed in a long while, apart from all the tweets. So I think it should be Japan and Tokyo. Generate brief. So why is it the generate trip button not working? The generate trip brief button is not working. Let's see what it says. Let's check the button's disable state logic and the execute function. The code looks good. The issue is likely that doesn't input. The tool execute button only disables when it is running. It doesn't account for input validation. The pattern looks the same. Can you tell me what's happening? It wasn't working there before, right? So now it is generating the it updated the view. I'm so used to doing it myself, but I realize that now I have an agent to do that for me. So I remove the redundant executor is running, which already handles that internally. Now it is building. I have to type it again. I would just say that please have a placeholder destination as Tokyo, Japan, and the guide URL too, especially when I am working in the SwiftUI preview. This is something that I would normally not type. I would directly say it in using the whisper flow that I use for dictation. And you can see that the code itself, like this is something that I would have envisioned back at WWDC 2025, because at that time itself we had the technology to do everything that we are doing right now in February 26. But I don't complain. I cannot complain because they've finally shipped something. So, and you can see that it also took a screenshot again on previous screenshots, and then we click on the generate brief trip again, and let's see what it actually prints. I have not gone through the code, so I have no idea what it is about. But so it did print something, but because the view is not that big, it's not working, and for some reason it's still on my Mac. So what I would do is I won't write a single line of code. Add a minimum, let's say 800 height to the preview, because it did some results, but I had no idea what the result was. Perfect. So now when the previews load, we can see the much better data. So when I click on generate trip brief, You can say that it took a screenshot again to check that it did add a minimum height. You can say that, okay, brief Tokyo weather, key insights, explore, and image available. Source Lonely Planet. I have no idea what Lonely Planet is, but I have some trip. And I would say that this, see the result in the preview, it is not as detailed as I expected to make my audience happy. Because when you talk about Tokyo, Japan, if you have seen their foundation model example, it's way better than whatever we are doing right now. And I do not want to ship this to the, it says that I do not want to ship this to the my open source repo. So it says that the result display is fairly basic. It just shows text and a gray box. Let me create a more visually appealing results. And then it has made some changes. I do not know what change it made. So it removed the trip executor results, or what did it do here? Can you see? No, you cannot click and see. That's fine. I don't want to look at the code anymore. So now let me add a custom result here at the end of the file, and we are going to wait for it. I actually thought that this video will be something like 5 minutes, and we are already at 26 minutes. But I'm actually enjoying it because I'm able to experience the agentic flow in Xcode like you, how you're doing at the same time. So it's not that I have planned or have a pre-filled script that I'm reciting. So it's my impromptu. So this is more of a tech bro reaction video as well, if I have to call it that way. So it has created the preview again. It took a screenshot, and this is the screenshot. It also created one with some sample return. So you have the weather, the key insights, and the source. So now I'll do this again and click on the generate preview, and let's see what the foundation models gives us this time. And this is another cool thing when you're working with Sonnet models, is that it wouldn't wait for your approval if you are not explicit about it. It would just directly add to the Git, and then you can see it already added co-authored by Opus 4.5 and Git push. So amazing. So I now have a PR which has this new Xcode previews, and it looks nice to me for the first attempt. I could have done a better job of giving a much better and descriptive prompt, but I'm very happy with it for what we did in the, it's not this is not going to go viral because of, it's not a one-shot wonder kind of thing, but it is much better than what I would have thought from especially coming from Swift Assist. So with that, I hope you learned something new working with the new agentic flow of, I hate saying that again, the new way of working with Xcode 26.3, and you learned something new. And I hope to create more videos specifically on shorter topics like how to set up MCP, because I really want to have Figma MCP. I could not figure out the Figma MCP because it requires auth, and I'll somehow see if I can do that as well. And with that, thank you, and I hope you have a great day.